My greatest source of happiness and joy is when I travel. Chasing, okay? Even spiritual people, that's also a problem. In my teens, I remember somebody coming out to me and said, nobody loves me. I looked at that person and said, how many people do you love?
Hello everyone, this is Unmasked by Skin Yoga and my name is Jagrati. Today we have a very special guest with us. He is Mr. Bijay Anand. He is an international yoga teacher, an art dealer, and a spiritual spokesperson. He does his retreats globally. Through his work, he's healed thousands of people. His work involves spirituality, Ayurveda, and conscious living that truly transforms. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So please tell us, what do you do and why do you do what you do?
So I do something which, according to the Chinese philosophy, is called Wu Wei, W-U-W-E-I, which is basically a life in which you do everything and at the same time you do nothing at all. So I'm an actor. I have a movie releasing next month called Ye Re Paisa, the Marathi film where I'm playing the main villain. So I do a lot of acting. I'm an art dealer. So I advise people on art investments, what to buy, when to sell. And that's something which is my source of income. And I, like you said, I teach yoga, I teach Kundalini yoga all over the world. I have a very active social media page on Instagram where every day there's a video on mindfulness, spirituality, relationships, naturopathy, whatever's helped me in my life to be healthy and happy, I share it on that platform. So what do? I do all of this, and yet, because of my philosophy of living, of Wu Wei, I actually do nothing. I just travel all the time. So people ask me, they say, how can you be such a successful art dealer? Do so much acting jobs, so many acting jobs, so much of art dealing, so much of yoga. And how come you have so much free time to travel? Because I've just come back. I was traveling for a whole month in Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Thailand. And I'm leaving for Europe in the next 1 week to teach us the colors of Ostrava. And I genuinely have all the time in the world. It's just the way I wanted my life to be structured, where I decided very early on in life that I want to be happy. See, the thing is, we create the wrong focus in our minds. We want to be rich. We want to be successful. We want to be famous. We want to have a big bank balance. What if you change that focus and you would say, I want to be happy? So I did that. And my greatest source of happiness and joy is when I travel. When I go to a foreign land where I don't know anyone, I don't know the street, I don't know the food, I don't know the language. And the process is called losing yourself, and you find yourself. Because then you know who you are. And that's a constant learning. It's a constant source of wisdom, of the expansion of your consciousness. And I thrive in that. I love it.
So when did you enter this spiritual world, or were you always like this?
I was always like this.
Really? Okay.
So when I was 14, my mom took me to her friend's house. And I entered and I saw this library which was like from end to end. Like the whole wall was full of books. Hundreds of thousands of books. And so my mom and her friend were talking like for, 2 hours or 3 hours. And I was quiet. Like they finished, they looked at me, and then I was just sitting in one place with some books around me. And then while leaving, I asked her friend, I said, can I have one book? Now, this is an old guy, 45, 50 years old. And he doesn't have comics.
Yeah.
So first of all, he said, I don't give my books to anyone. I love my books. And I collect books. I'm a bibliophile. That's what they call it. Yeah. That's I'm not giving it to you. But I'm very curious to know, in my collection, what did you find? What do you want? So from behind, I took out this really small book called the Dhammapada. Because I had been reading that for the last 2 hours. And I just fell in love with that book. Wow. And he just looked at me. He looked at my mother. And he was shocked. He said, you want the Dhammapada?
Wow.
I said, yes. He said, take it. He said, I can't believe that. I said, I would have never given it. But he said, I can't believe somebody who's 14 years old wants, he's begging me to give him the Dhammapada. So till today, I have that book. And a lot of that philosophy, which I read at that age, at that point of time in life, has helped me, and it continues to help me even today. It was a very simple example. Like, you never spend 1 day in the company of a food. It's better to spend one day in the company of a wise man than to spend 1,000 days with a fool.
Yeah, sure.
So all my friends have been 25, 30, 35, 40 years older than me, always, even now. So, there are many things I learned from that book which have helped me till today. So to answer your question, have I always been spiritual? Yes, I have always been a seeker, because when I started working when I was 15, 16 years old, whatever money I used to earn, I had a yoga teacher who I used to pay, who used to come to my house and teach me yoga.
Wow.
Totally, without the knowledge of my parents, and like they didn't even know I was going to do it, or they only found out when the yoga teacher rang the bell at 6:30 in the morning and he came. And then I did a course called Siddha Samadhi Yoga, SSY, where I was probably the youngest student in the history of that course. And I paid for it, and I did it myself out of my own interest.
Wow.
So I think these things are mostly a past life carry forward.
Okay.
Which is why I always tell people that have good karmas, learn, become wiser, grow your consciousness, improve the quality of your aura. Because when you die, when you're born again, you're going to be born with the same shit or the same blessings.
Sure.
So it's a carry forward.
So tell me, I'm glad you spoke about that. What, according to you, is karma?
Your actions, your deeds, and not only what you do physically, but also even your thoughts, your speech, everything that you do, it builds karma in one way or the other. And it could be something which is totally, without realizing. Like if I gave an example the other day in one of my reels where I said, about 10 years ago, I went to my friend Mamu Merchant's house. I parked my car. I didn't have a driver at that time. And I went to the 26th floor. And when I was standing in his balcony, I saw my car. And I realized from that view that I had blocked the car that was behind me. Now, which means that if I just left it there now, after realizing, now if I saw this and I said, forget it, this is his problem, that's bad karma. Because when that guy comes to take out his car and he cannot, for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, he's going to curse me. That collection of curses or blessings is what builds up your karma. So you can build up a good collection of blessings, or of course you can build up a pathetic collection of curses where you cheat someone, you hurt someone. So one thing that my mother, the most important thing that I learned from my mother is, in Hindi she said, "Kisi ka dil mat dukhana." So never hurt anyone, because wo high lagti hai, baddua lagti hai, you get cursed. And one thing I know from my own experience, what I have seen with my own eyes, is that when somebody gets cursed, even if God intervenes and tries to save that person with the divine blessings also, he cannot save that.
Really?
Curse comes from the heart. Okay. It's a soul cry that comes out. That's why it's called hi. Hi is not something which comes out from your mouth. To say hi, you have to say it from the navel. So a curse comes out from the navel, comes from the core of your being. That affects you. If somebody beggar comes to you and says, give me money, and he says no, and he curses you, that's bullshit. There's nothing going to happen.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to understand, like, what exactly is a curse and what exactly is a blessing. A blessing is something which, like last night, I was playing pool in my club with my daughter, and one of her friends came, and he's a young boy, he must be 17 or 16 years old, and he came and he touched my feet. It's the second time in his life he's met me. And I put my hand on his head, But when I did that, I genuinely gave him a blessing. See, sometimes it might happen, you go to a wedding, there are 30 people, you go and touch everyone's feet, somebody just do, Jesus. No, I looked at him and I said, shit, what a good boy, I blessed him. And now that is a blessing which has a weight. Like the bigger the deeper your blessing, the more it benefits you. Sometimes you do something for somebody and the way he blesses you, your whole life is sorted.
Really?
Your whole life is sorted.
So you really believe in the curse and blessing?
My whole life is based on that. My whole teachings are based on that.
Okay.
The one thing you have to understand in this, sometimes when somebody curses you, this is really important. It might not affect you. It gets deflected to the children.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that. A lot of bad people, on the face of it, they look fine. But you see their children, they go through hell. They even commit suicide. They have diseases. They have cancer. So this is the message which, I want to put across to people, that a lot of times you might do something bad and think you got away with it. Nothing happened to you. Look, you got a nice house, you got a Bentley, you're enjoying your life. But look at your children. And the pain of seeing your child suffer is the greatest pain in life.
I agree. I've heard that. Like, if you want to trouble someone truly, trouble their kids. So tell me, is karma the same as fate or destiny?
No, it's not the same. Fate and destiny is what you were destined to be, to do. And karma is what you can do to change your destiny, to make it worse or to make it better.
Then that happens. So there's a concept of the karma balance sheet. Is it real? If so, how can we settle our karmic debts in this life itself?
Tapas. See, if you understand the concept of karma, then you have to understand that there is a way to clean your karmic garbage. One is tapas. So when you do Kundalini yoga, for example, you're doing certain things, certain kriyas, which are not easy to do. Yeah, and that's why they're called tapas.
Tapasya.
Yeah, because you're burning in fire and you're doing it, you're putting yourself in that uncomfortable position where you are actually going through a lot of pain, but it's burning away your karma. The second option is to do so much good karma that your bad karma gets wiped out. So your blessings go higher than your curses. That's the second way.
But how does one know that I'm doing this good karma? It's very vague if you know.
It's not vague at all. When you are doing good karma, you just know it. Like I can give you an example, okay? We go for an evening walk after dinner, me and my wife. And we left our house and we saw this couple. And young couple. And the girl had such a small child, maybe 1 month or 2 months old in her hand. And he said, the boy came to me and he said, somebody offered me a job in Mumbai and I came and at the station he was not there and I don't have money to go back.
Oh God.
So I said, you think I'm the only one since morning you met to con or what? I mean,
True. Okay.
You give these stories to everyone, collect money and then go home. I said, rubbish, bullshit. I said, but when I come back, I'll give you some money, So then when we left, I told my wife, we give him $200.
Oh.
We started walking a little bit and I said, first of all, it might be true. Secondly, what if it is true? And would any young man like to beg in front of his young wife? Which man would have that, would take a knife and stab his pride and his ego and beg in front of a young wife? So I told my wife, make it 1,000. Okay. Then he walked a little bit more. I said, make it 5,000. And then we turned around to go back. And then I saw him again. I said, and we are Punjabi, so we believe that you should always cook more food for uninvited guests who drop in last minute.
Oh, okay.
So we obviously had extra food.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, give them, serve them dinner. Now, my wife is used to all this. Yeah. She didn't react. Yeah. That's fine. But by the time I said that, I was so full of emotion. Yeah. I actually went to my bedroom, I locked it. I put on this music which I have, which is Kundalini yoga based music. And I cried for a full half an hour. Now, you don't understand that when you cry, what you have to know is that you heal yourself. Okay. When you're crying out of love, when you're crying out of compassion, when you're crying out of, a feeling for somebody, you heal yourself. That crying of love is a crying which I called from the Anahata chakra. Okay, that's a different topic. Because you can cry from the first 3 chakras, from the Vishuddhi chakra. The crying which comes from the heart chakra heals you. Now, imagine that act of kindness for that couple, it healed me, which is priceless.
Yeah.
What is 5,000 rupees for that healing?
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, blessings have a tangible value. Then you can feel them when you've done something good, even if you say something nice. I was in Vietnam the other day, just a week ago, and I said something to someone and I knew that she was very touched with what I said. And it gave me goosebumps because she was I could see her heart open up because of what I said. And when you say that, and she heard that, and the way she reacted, it opened my heart up. So any act of kindness, it heals you. And you know it, you feel it at that time.
Yeah. Is there any specific proof of reincarnation that you have come across in your
Me?
Yeah.
I am one.
No, sure. But
No, I'm telling you, I'm not even like any astrologer in my whole life that I have gone to, even tarot card reader. They have all told me the same thing. They say, you have been born so many times, and the last many births, you have been a teacher. And they said this to me before I became a teacher. I became a teacher 12 years ago. But my whole life I've been hearing them. And I've been told that I was an evolved soul. And I was also told very clearly by many people, many of these people, that this is my last birth, which I chose to come back to share everything that I've learned in all my lives with people, which is why I take so much time to teach. I want to give away all of those learnings of what I know. Because what I know is something which can change your life if you understand it. It can change your life and make you realize the meaning of heaven on earth. You see, the problem is, we all believe that, we will die and we will go to either hell or heaven.
No.
It's here. It's right now. You're living the life of hell or you're living the life of heaven. And you have to experience it fully. And I know people who have done extremely bad things. And if I show you what kind of life they're living, you will not be able to sleep for 3 nights. You will have nightmares. But they've done extremely bad things. They've been cursed multiple times. And even, it's so pathetic that even death refuses to come to them. They have multiple diseases. They have cancer also, they have dementia also, they have this also, they have that also. They look like skulls and bones. And they have no life. But they refuse to die because they have to pay. They have to suffer.
And if they don't complete the suffering this birth, they come back again.
100%.
My ultimate goal is to free myself from this cycle of, birth and death. But I don't know if I'm gonna, probably I will come back. But for you, for someone who knows that, okay, this is it, like this is my last birth, what is it how does it make you feel?
Blessed. A sense of gratitude. You see, it's a blessing to be born a human. Because an animal cannot do tapas. An animal cannot do mantras. So out of all the cycle of, birth, rebirth, where you might be born as a cockroach in one, as a tiger in one, and on all those cycles, even in the Devalokas, even the gods feel that being blessed, to be born as a human being is a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
Even the gods believe that to be born as a human being is a blessing. So it's a blessing to be born a human, but then if you misuse it and you spend your entire life seeking pleasure all the time, and you refuse to understand that it's not the purpose. The purpose is to expand your consciousness. If you understand that and you start focusing on that, then it becomes a blessing to be born a human being. Otherwise, it's a curse.
Okay, so tell me, what are the most common things that you notice in people that they do that makes their life a curse, or they're misusing their, them being born as a human?
See, there are two different things. One is the question, there are two questions there. One is what people end up doing all the time. What are they wasting their whole life on?
Yeah.
And the second question is, what are the bad things that people do? Okay. And to answer your first question, all of mankind, not only mankind, actually, let me tell you this. The smallest living organism on the planet, the smallest, not even microscope, smaller than a microscopic, is called the paranecium.
Okay.
When the paranecium has been studied over years, the scientists have realized that the goal of the paranecium is also to seek pleasure and to run away from pain.
Okay.
Seeking pleasure, this whole act of seeking pleasure, validation from people, from society. It's the story of the donkey and the boy, the man and his son. We all heard that story. They're walking towards the market and the people start laughing. They have a donkey and nobody's sitting on it. So the father tells the son, why don't you sit on the donkey? So the son sits on it. Then the people coming from the front say, what an idiot son this is. Making the father walk and he's sitting on the donkey. So then the father sits down. And then some more people come and they say, what an idiot father he is. This little son is walking and he's sitting on the donkey. So then they both sit on the donkey. The people say, what cruel people. Bichara's donkey, and they're putting all the weight on this, so much, 2 people sitting on one donkey, how heartless you are. So they take the donkey and they throw him in the river. But that's life. No matter what you do, people are always going to take a knife and stab you in the back. So for every 1,000 messages I get on my Instagram about how people are benefiting from my post and how it's changing their life, there is always that one idiot who'll call me a fool, who'll call me somebody who's seeking followers. What do I need followers for? I'm an actor. I mean, I've seen fame when my movie Yash was released and Yaro Na Jaane Mujhe Kya Ho Gaya was released. For 6 months, those songs were number one. For 6 months. It never happened in India. 6 months those songs, Yaro Na Jaane Mujhe Kya Ho Gaya and Subha Subha Jagput Ki Color. I've seen when I walk into any nightclub in India, they're playing my music, my name comes up, they announce me, they call me on the stage. If I want followers, my friend, I will just do more acting. I just said no to 2 producers. If I tell you, you'll fall off your chair who I said no to. Why? Because I want to go to Colombia, Cuba, and I'm doing that whole big trip, and I would have got locked and I would have not been able to travel. If I want followers, I'll do more acting. Oh, but you must be doing it for money. I mean, what money? I'm an art dealer. You have no idea what kind of money I make. You should see how much tax I paid last year. What money do you think I'm going to get by teaching yoga? Are you stupid? You understand what I'm saying? So people will always, the society will always find something to bitch about.
But why does that affect you?
It doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
No. I have a very simple formula.
Yeah.
I very appreciate my peace of mind. I just block such people. Because see, these are the kind of typical trollers. They have 0 posts, 0 friends, 0 followers.
The fake accounts.
But there are people who just like doing this. They have so much negativity inside. You can't blame them.
But don't you feel bad about where the world is taking some individual into just thinking in that negative?
No, it takes all kinds to make the world. There is positive and there's negative. There is darkness and then there is light. So there is always a balance. So without the negative people, you never realize how good the positive people are. The only problem is when a negative person or a negative human being comes in contact with a positive human being, he feels shattered from inside. He knows. He knows, the soul knows that where he stands. He knows that this is light, this is a source of light, and that darkness is in danger. The problem with darkness, it's like a leech. A leech sticks to your body, it doesn't want to come out. Anything that is negative, even a toxic relationship. Let's say you have a boyfriend or you have a girlfriend, it's a toxic relationship. You can beg them, you can shout at them, you can cry, you can even get physical with them and just say, leave me. They will not leave you. A leech will not leave you. Darkness does not want to leave you. That's why negative people, when they come in contact with a positive person, they get frazzled. And they just can't. That's why they start doing all kinds of crazy things.
Oh, crazy. It's crazy. What is the role of heart chakra, the anahata, in healing relationships and giving joy?
I was in Amsterdam about 7-8 years ago, and my friend was teaching Kundalini yoga, and I sat through the whole class and I watched the class. And after the class got over, my friend was busy talking to his students, and there was one girl who was about to leave. So I just went up to her. I said, excuse me. She said, what? So I showed her 2-3 exercises, which open the heart. There is Ustrasana. In Iyengar yoga, you hold these ropes and you come in the front. It opens the heart chakra.
Okay.
Then I told her of something about the sun, and I had about 20-minute chat with her, and she left. Then my friend came to me and said, what were you talking to her about? I said, my God, her heart chakra has totally collapsed. She's suffering. And she was a very good-looking girl. Not that she's a good-looking girl and looked very well, wealthy, well off, everything. So my friend said, how could you make out?
Yeah.
I said, it was so obvious. He told me, he said, she tried to commit suicide twice. I said, extremely unhappy. He said, how could you know? So the point is, to answer your question, the heart chakra, when it's collapsed, it's very obvious. You can see it. And when I see somebody like that, I just want to do whatever I can to help a person like that. Because people don't even realize it. You see, the problem with these people is you're walking around like zombies, like ghosts, like dead bodies, and they don't know they're dead.
Yeah, that's true.
My job is to show that.
Yeah.
My job, that's my karma.
When you enter a room and you take a look around, can you tell looking at people? Yeah, can you? That's scary.
Even if I'm not looking at them, I know. There was a nightclub where we went, and it's called the China House. It's in the Grand Hyatt in Mumbai.
Yeah.
And I was with 2 friends, and suddenly the hair at the back of my neck stood up, literally and I turned around, I saw 6 guys who had walked in. Now, I'm not even looking at them.
Yeah.
And I looked at my friend, I said, we have to go. And my friend said, but we just entered, and you said this is the last stop, it's opened at 3.
Yeah.
And every other club is shut too. We don't want to go. Yeah. Okay, you say, I'm going. I had to come my credit card, started paying. In that much time, which is hardly a few seconds, one of the guys had taken out his shirt and started dancing. Now, this is a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So the bouncers started running from here, there, like about 5-6 bouncers. Because the bouncers started coming toward this guy and he had 6 friends, it transpired that they had some 15 bodyguards outside. There's some politicians' sons.
Oh, okay.
So in the 2 minutes it took me to pay for my credit card and get out of there, there's a full gunfight which is about to start.
Oh my God.
You understand?
Pick up on things that are about
Even if I'm not... So you ask me if I enter a room and I see people, can I make out? I don't have to see people. When I'm entering a room, I know the energy. And this story that I'm telling you, by the way, it's about 15 years old.
So tell me, like, you spoke about Kundalini yoga, right? Why is this so secretive or so sacred for so long? People don't usually talk about it.
So the Bihar school and the techniques they use, they're very hardcore.
Okay.
And I can understand why it's secretive. Like, for example, certain pranayamas are also secretive. Like my teacher, Jawahar Bangera, he refused to teach me pranayama, the higher level pranayama. He said, you're not ready for it yet.
Okay.
Now imagine Kundalini yoga, that's next level. How can you learn Kundalini yoga if you don't know ABCD, then pranayam, then yoga asanas? So to learn that kind of Kundalini yoga, what the Bihar school teaches, which is really traditional, it has to be secretive. It should be. Like even the Tibetan rites, there are so many Tibetan practices, so many of them, which are just not passed on to you until you are 20, 30, 40 years into the practice. They refuse.
Okay.
The way we teach Kundalini yoga, the way I teach it, is in a form which is not dangerous, but heals.
Okay.
I got healed from that, so I know it works.
Okay.
The first session I ever did in the Kundalini yoga class, I started it. I was talking to you like how I'm talking to you, normal, not depressed, not sad, nothing. But after 2 minutes, I started crying, and I cried for full 2 hours. But I felt as if I had lost 4 kilos. I felt so light. I realized that for the first time in my life, I had found my way back home.
Wow. That's
the kind of Kundalini yoga we do, which is why it's not secretive.
Yeah.
I can do an online session and teach you online. It's not dangerous.
Understood.
No
But
snake.
it's as effective. Yeah.
In India, people want free canal. They'll rather go to YouTube and learn pranayama from a teacher who's teaching, 3,000 people and do it wrong. They go to Carter Road and what is the... Boss, you're freaking your nervous system out. You're going to die. I'm not even exaggerating. You can die like that if you do it wrong.
Okay.
So, but to pay a teacher 500 rupees to come and teach you pranayama with the right mudra, with the right posture, with the right... Free mein.
But
that attitude is an Indian attitude.
I agree with you. People don't pay for service here and knowledge here at all. And the same people would pay abroad for the same knowledge, But if you're so good at it and you have other sources of income and, this is a time when you really want to help more and more people, you won't get more people than you would get in India anywhere. Why wouldn't you just keep doing it for free? I'm just curious.
Because if somebody is not appreciating it, he should not be taught it. It's a science of energy exchange.
Yes.
Okay. And energy works on a positive and a negative note. Any battery has a positive and a negative. And there's a combination of give and take which happen. It's a token. That's what's called Guru Dakshina.
Right.
Okay, I don't need your money.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your 400 rupees? So why do I charge? If I don't need the money, it's because it completes the energy. The cycle is completed. And if you're not appreciative of it enough to want to pay for it, then you don't deserve that knowledge. Because you don't appreciate it. Now, on the other hand, if somebody poor calls up my secretary and says, oh, I really love Suha's class a lot and I want to come for the retreat and I don't have 20,000, I don't have 30,000. How can you pay? You can pay this much? Come, no problem. Because you can make out when somebody is genuine. You're staying in a posh flat in Altamont Road or Malabar Hill and then say, I can't afford 20,000, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The heart.
So when somebody is genuinely, like I said, I'm doing all this for what? My whole life is dedicated to teaching. There's nothing that you can possibly give me that will give me more joy than just the act of sharing with you. That is my biggest reward. That's my biggest income.
True. Okay, before this you mentioned about the blocked heart chakra of one of the girls that you worked with. What happens when this chakra is blocked? And how can we open it? Can you share some simple practices with our listeners?
When your heart chakra is blocked, you, first of all, get deprived of any meaningful relationship in your life. Maybe your mother will continue to love you because mothers are like that. Maybe if you're lucky, your father also might continue to love you, but you lose everybody else because your heart chakra is blocked and you are not that whole transmitter that receives that love. It's gone. How are you going to receive love? And how to activate it? By giving. Because what people don't realize, so even when I was a child, in my teens, I remember somebody coming out to me and said, nobody loves me. I looked at that person and I said, how many people do you love? So the whole act of the activation of the Anahata chakra, the whole science of relationships, of love, of empathy, of compassion is based not upon what you get. It's the foundation is based upon what you give. And the more you give, the more you gain back. The problem is everybody is waiting. Abhi aayega, abhi aayega, abhi aayega. You know, there are girls who want to get married and waiting for the right guy coming on a white horse in a shining armor.
Yeah.
They don't realize that, you have to first give the love. When you are a giving soul, it shows in your face, your skin shines and glows. Your eyes have kindness. Look at your eye, how beautiful you are.
Oh, thank you.
So your eyes you have a kindness in the eyes. People get attracted to you even if you're at the airport or a train station.
Yeah.
I have so many times people walking up to me and say, hi, I'm so and so, I'm from Jamaica. I just want to say hi to you. Can I give you a hug?
Aura.
Yeah, because people see the thing is, we use our intelligence. We think we are super intelligent people. No, what are you wearing? Oh, you're wearing Versace. Oh, you're wearing Armani. You're wearing, you must be a nice guy. I want to be a man. But what you don't realize is that a soul doesn't need all that. Soul knows automatically. You have used your stupidity to override that soul's decision. The soul said, stay away from this guy. You looked at his car, you looked at his watch, and you said, no, I want to be friends with him. Then later on, when you get cheated, when you get hurt, then you said, shit, I should have listened to my intuition. I've always followed my intuition.
Yeah, okay.
Always. Like, I walked away from projects, from business deals, from relationships, from people. Like, stupid. Like, how can you do this? Like, how can you walk away from this?
Yeah.
Intuition says.
Interesting. It's very funny that you say that. I think some 15, 20 years back, I was really young and I was with a friend and she was miserable in her life. And she's like, what do I do? There's nothing left in my life and whatever. And something in me. And she, she came from a very well-to-do family. She had everything that anybody could ask for, but she was truly miserable. She would stock up on her designer wares in her bags, but wear torn clothes every single day. And she's like, what do I do? I don't know. And I said, you know what? You need to give away, open the bags and donate those things. I don't know where did that words come in me that time. And, she would think that, oh my God, is she crazy? What is she talking about? I've collected them for years, but I think that's when you will really feel happy. So I truly believe that it's very important to give in order to receive. And do you think this is something that parents can teach their kids? And what is the best way to start giving? Give what? Give like brains, give money, give knowledge?
No, the biggest thing in the Bhagavad Gita, which has been given, what is the biggest donation you can make? It's your time. Money anybody can give. Mr. Ambani can write a check of 10 crores and give it to that charity.
Yeah.
It takes 1 minute. That has a value. It's not wanted.
Yeah.
10 crores or 10 crores.
Yeah.
But for you, for because charity is one of the important karmas that you must do in your life. And one of the most important things in that charity, money is probably on the last. One of the most important things is your time.
Okay.
When you give your time to someone, to something, some cause, maybe you go to teach in some school for free. Maybe you are a doctor and you give some time, 1 hour a day, half an hour a day to teach poor people or to heal poor people. Whatever you give in terms of time, that is the maximum benefit for you.
So good to know. So good to know. Amazing. The other day, like for the first time in my life, I signed up for teaching in a government school in Bombay. And it was just 1 or 2 hours a month. But those 2 hours just made me so grateful and it made my heart so heavy for me not doing anything. And it was just strange how that entire thing just made me feel grateful, humbled, at the same time. But I think it's really important for everybody to take out that time and give.
You ask me, how can parents teach
Yes.
their children about this message? So when my daughter was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, from that time till today, I've always showed her this. And I said, always in your whole life, keep your hand like this and not like this. Whatever, for whoever, never ask for anything. Always give whatever you can. So when I'm saying, people ask me, what's the meaning of Satnam? So many people ask me. So a spoken word has different vibrations depending on what your interpretation of that vibration. In my mind, when I am saying Satnam, it means Sat, truth. That I am coming to you in truth. I don't want anything from you. I will give you whatever I can. When I'm telling you Satnam, when I'm greeting you with Satnam, that's what I'm saying. And that's how every parent should pass on that knowledge. Because it's one of the main secrets of happiness itself. You want to be happy in life, this is one of the paths you have to follow. Give.
And is forgiveness a heart chakra practice? How can people genuinely practice it?
So when you forgive someone, you're not doing them a favor.
Okay.
Let's say you do something to me.
Yeah.
You take a knife and stab me in the back. Now I can choose to live with that anger and that pain for my whole life. Or I can forgive you. Now when I've forgiven you, I have not done you any favor. I have liberated myself. I have done an act which is now going to free up my heart chakra, my anahata chakra. I have liberated myself. The act is a favor to my own self, to my being, to my soul, to my very existence. You are just incidental.
It's a very interesting way to look at it. Right?
It's the only way to look.
Practice it.
You try looking at it any other way. When you are forgiving, you're doing yourself a favor. There's no other way to look at it.
These practices, does it require you to have like a more healthy heart chakra to be able to even think that, okay, I need to forgive this because it's good for me? People with more broken heart chakra or collapsed heart chakra, they might not be able to think like, okay, I think I need to forget this. They might just absorb that energy.
No, that is why I always say, even if you have cancer, even if you're the most miserable human being on the planet, there is always that one switch. And it's like this. It's so fast. You saw? This much. Won't know what the switch is. It's that realization that this is a mistake I made. So like you said, your broken heart chakra, your collapsed heart chakra, your being miserable. It's just that 1 second. That's why all the Zen stories I've read in my life from Japan, they always have that 1 second of something happening where this master, whoever it was, he got enlightened. It actually takes a second for the most miserable, unhappy, sick, unhealthy human being to shift his entire life. It could be anything. It could be even watching this video and hearing something that I said here, which can create that shift. And it happens a lot in my class.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people experience it.
Oh, wow.
They experience that 1 second, that one moment of something that they have done, something that I've said, something that they have realized, which changes their whole life. For the rest of their life, they're not the same again.
Oh, wow.
So, to answer your question, it's not complicated. See, that's my whole work. What do you think I do? You think whatever I'm saying you don't already know? Everybody, even people who are listening to it, know it. My job is to simplify it so that it's easier to understand.
Yeah. The most difficult thing in life is to simplify the things. And
that's my job. I simplify spirituality. I simplify Ayurveda. I simplify Shat Karma. I simplify Dinacharya. I simplify so that you can do it. The problem with teachers is they to sound intelligent.
Yeah, exactly.
They use such words, you use such terminology, they use such science, and people think it's too complicated. Forget it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
I am saying enlightenment is not a big deal.
Okay, now tell me, if somebody is enlightened, is it possible for them to go back from enlightenment? No.
It's like an arrow which is left the bow. Once the arrow is left, once you're on the path to enlightenment, you cannot take a U-turn. Doesn't happen.
Okay, now why do you think more and more people are, especially the youth, are falling into depression, anxiety, or feeling more burnout today?
The foundations are wrong. You see, like I said, everybody is chasing pleasure, everybody is chasing success, everybody is chasing money, everybody is chasing, sex, they're chasing love, and they're chasing. Okay. Even spiritual people, that's also a problem.
Okay.
Because there are two kinds of dogs in the world. One kind of dog will see a taxi or a khatara, like a dirty jeep or whatever, and you start running behind that car. And then as soon as the car stops on the signal, puts his legs up and pees on it. A second kind of dog is a very posh dog. He waits for the Mercedes Benz, he waits for the Bentley, he waits for the Rolls Royce. And then when he sees the Rolls Royce, then he runs behind the car and he pays. Now the spiritual people are like that.
Okay.
They're also running behind only something.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you have to realize that you don't need to run behind this or that. Even spirituality is just, too much of a marketing thing. Being spiritual does not mean sitting in temples, going to gurus, listening to people. Being spiritual is just being authentic, being you, living your truth right now. So these young people who are suffering right now, they are suffering because they have been given the wrong notion of beauty, of happiness, of what they should be doing. Everything has been structured wrong into their DNA itself. My daughter, from the time she was born, was told that she needs to be happy. She needs to learn to be happy at that moment, right now, with or without something. Because if this bowl of cherries makes me happy, that means when this bowl of cherries gets over, I will feel sad. You have to learn to enjoy that moment when it is there. Today, if my whole happiness is dependent upon my love for you, that means the moment you go out of my life, if you leave me or if you die, my happiness is gone. I have to appreciate this moment right now, because this is what is there, this is what is real, this is what is tangible. What is not there, you should not have any relevance for it. You should be able to cut it off. So the whole younger generation, this is what I try to teach them, that be authentic, live your life full of intuition, be intuitive, develop your intuition. People put that intuition aside because intuition will tell you become a painter, paint. But your father will tell you or society will tell you, no, you have to become an engineer. Khalas, life is over. Now be prepared to suffer. Because when I left acting 20 years ago, people thought I was the stupidest guy in the world. Pyar to hona was a silver jubilee. Okay. Like that is a time when all my 20 years of hard work in the film industry paid off. Now I was in a movie with Ajay Devgan, Kajol. Now I've got the success. Now I'm getting 20 film offers, this producer, that director. I said, Satnam, I don't want to act anymore.
That was intuition.
That was intuition. What else? For people, it's stupidity. For society, it's stupidity. For my parents, it's stupidity.
Okay.
But for me, it's intuition. I said, no, I don't want to act anymore.
How to strengthen your own intuition? Like, how to strengthen your intuition and be brave enough to follow it? What you just said, probably that also a lot of people already know.
You can develop your intuition by, first of all, being a very honest human being. Because if you lie, if you cheat, nothing like intuition is something like a blessing. Blessings are not going to come your way. Why would they come?
Yeah.
So when you are kind, when you are giving love, you are compassionate, you're extremely honest, intuition comes to you naturally. And then what you have to do is you have to learn to surrender to it. Okay. If your intuition says give up acting, then bloody well give up acting. Then don't question. Okay, pyar to hona tha, release. I'm become a big hit, now I can make money. Yeah. Finally I can start making money. No, you walk away. You understand? So how to develop intuition? Follow these principles of, and beyond all this, strive for knowledge, wisdom. Expand your consciousness, expand your consciousness. You see what magic happens in your life after that.
Do you think meditation plays a role?
Big role. If you can. I can't meditate. So right now, my biggest goal in life is to be able to meditate for 4 days and 5 days without food. I'm going to go there one day. Right now I can't, so I don't try.
Okay.
I don't meditate for a minute a day. Okay. Right now. But when I get into it, that's all that I'll be doing.
Okay. Do you believe this mental disease is connected to a spiritual vacuum?
Yes. Because spiritually when you get involved, but you have to also understand that there's also the other way to look at it. Being spiritual doesn't mean you won't get cancer.
Sure.
Some of the biggest and the most famous of all the gurus, like in India, we have maybe top 5. Maybe 3 of them have had cancer. They suffered a lot when they died.
Okay.
So I don't think, being spiritual saves you. Like I always say that the story of Sisyphus in the Greek mythology, he's pushing up this big boulder up a mountain, and he's pushing it up, and he's pushing, and he's crying because his feet are bleeding, his hands are hurting, he's sweating, and his whole life is doing that. It's such a big boulder, and every time he stops, the boulder comes down, and he has to start again from. And then one day he gets enlightened. Now, when he gets enlightened, what do you think happened? You think the boulder disappears? You think the mountain becomes flat? No. But now he's smiling. He understands his purpose in life. The spirituality is something which gives you power, it gives you strength. It doesn't mean that the income tax people will not raid you. It doesn't mean that your wife will not leave you and run away. It doesn't mean that your Kamwali bhai will not come one day or your driver will run away with you. It doesn't mean anything. All that shit is going to happen. The way you deal with it will change. That's what spirituality is.
Interesting. Okay. And how does overstimulation, like via screens, noise, and social media, affect our energy, our body, and our chakras?
Sucks it up.
It does.
See, when you're looking at the phone
Yeah.
and looking at these reels all the time,
Yeah.
and then you put it down and you put on YouTube, and you put it on, you put on the TV.
Yeah.
Absorbing all this information, it sucks energy out of your life, takes out prana from your life.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you were to sit in this simple mudra, and you just meditate, you are collecting so much energy. It gives you so much power. It gives you such a powerful aura. So, to answer your question, this overstimulation is killing people. It's one of the biggest sources of unhappiness, disease, depression, all kinds of problems.
What is your message to today's youth who are searching for purpose, but they're constantly distracted or lost?
I just want to tell you one thing. Your purpose does not lie in what you can do for yourself. You have to understand. When you find a purpose that is higher than yourself, when it's for mankind, if your purpose is for the trees, for Mother Nature, for the sea, for the rivers, when you find within you to find a purpose for yourself which is higher than yourself, that is when the magic starts unraveling itself. And you see, like I said before, the real meaning of heaven on earth.
And is it true that, when you're in the womb, you suffer a lot? Soul suffers, a body suffers a lot, and you decide that, okay, once I take this birth, I'm gonna, remove my karmic debt and be free. But the moment you enter the world, Maya captures you, and then you again start chasing that?
It's only the whole fundamental of life itself is the fact that you're living inside the matrix. And you have to find a way to break free from those chains, from those clutches, and to just experience life without the burden of Maya on your shoulders.
Okay.
Look at the world that is meant to be seen.
How is Kundalini yoga different from other forms of yoga?
So I was infamous, or you can even say notorious for my anger.
Okay.
Before Kundalini yoga as an actor, all the roles I got were of angry actors, like angry characters. Even when I got casted for Lakshman, Ravi Chopra said, oh, this is the most hot-headed, angry man I've seen in my life. Just cast him immediately. That's how I got in Ramayan casted for Lakshman.
Okay.
And all the roles that I did, whether it was Nand in Kurukshetra, they were all angry. And then I did Kundalini yoga. And afterward, when I got called back to acting after 16 years, they casted me for the show called Siya Ke Ram, where I played Janak. Okay. And Nikhil Sinha, the director, he told his secretary, he said, tell Star Plus, and this is confirmed, it's not for approval, and also tell them that I haven't found an actor to play Janak. I have found Janak himself.
Oh.
How Kundalini yoga changed my life is it took away all of that anger, which was so deep within me, that even I myself thought it is impossible to get rid of it for my whole life.
Okay.
Now imagine what it has done to so many other people. So there was this one girl who called me up one day. She said, I want to meet you. So I said, who are you? She said, I did your class 3 years ago. I said, only one class? She said, yeah, but I wanted to meet you. So I said, okay, come. And she came over and She said, I wanted to thank you. I said, for what? She said, my dad passed away 8 months before I did your class. I said, oh. And he said, I cried every day. Every single day. From morning when the time I woke up, I miss my dad so much. I cried every day. And then I did that one class for you. I cried throughout the class. It's after that I stopped crying. Till today I haven't cried. I just say, whenever I think of my dad, I smile. I've stopped crying. Now to answer your question, how powerful Kundalini yoga is. Now I did a lot of yoga before Kundalini yoga. So I thought it'll help me with my anger. It'll help me, become more flexible. I didn't become more flexible because anger is basically something which is stuck within your body. It's trapped everywhere, and that's what makes you so stiff.
Okay.
So when I did Kundalini yoga and the anger came out, my body also became flexible.
Okay.
So that's how powerful Kundalini yoga is. I can give you hundreds of examples of so many magical things that have happened to me, my students, they all like this, all magical stories.
Sure. So if our listeners, they want to start understanding or practicing or learning Kundalini yoga, what are the resources that they can look for?
So unfortunately, right now, currently in India, I'm the only one who teaches Kundalini yoga, but I would love to see so many more teachers. I'm hoping that somebody I know in Delhi calls, Sonia Kaur, there's somebody in Mumbai called Sonia Rasdan, and there's somebody who learned from me called Mudita Tandon, which she moved to Abu Dhabi. She's teaching there and she's doing fabulously. But I really I'm looking to train more teachers who will teach this wonderful science and become beacons of light themselves and heal others. Because see, the modality of Kundalini yoga is very simple. I have 2 levels as of now. Level 1 and level 2 when I'm teaching. In level 1, the teacher that I'm training in level 1, you heal yourself. So you want to become a teacher, you will become a teacher. You will be able to teach. But your process of learning has healed you. When I take you to level 2, once you pass level 1 and you become level 2 teacher, then you'll have the power to heal others.
Okay.
Then you become a healer. So I have online sessions which are, recorded, pre-recorded, about 120 workshops.
Okay.
And there are Bollywood film stars who are doing it. There are a lot of, my students from all over the world who are doing it, from all over the world. And we just have to put it on every day at a particular time to see what I'm doing for 1 hour and do the kriyas, do the mantras, do the mudras, whatever I've taught. Just do it.
Where do we go?
It's online.
Online. What is a URL or something?
Just find me on Instagram and send a message to me on my, anatharetreat.in. Okay. And, Pearl or somebody will guide you to it. It's very easy. Okay. And so online is an option. Otherwise, in India, I'm sorry, but right now, apart from me, there's nobody. And I also don't teach in India a lot.
Okay.
I'd mostly get invited to Mexico, to China, to Russia, Europe, and I teach in those places because, they're so appreciative of the science. And, when you're having a class there, if your class is at 7 o'clock, at 6:30, 6:45, it's full. Everybody's sitting. In India, you have a 7 o'clock class, 7:05, somebody's walking in. 7:10, somebody's walking in. 7:15, somebody's walking in. What the hell is going on? And this is not a ABCD class that I'm teaching you English. This is a healing modality. If you're not respectful of that, if you don't have respect for that science, then you don't deserve to be healed.
I understand where you're coming from. I do. But I really wish that you could work around the cultural, habits of people in India and still, do.
We do retreats. We do retreats in India. There's one every 2 or 3 months. So if you're following my Instagram page, you come to know when I'm doing the next one.
Yeah.
And you can come on that because those are really powerful. Because those are 3 days. What I call it is a washing machine. It's 3 days of washing machine. I am taking your body and throwing you into a giant size washing machine. And you're not going to know what happened to you. But when you come out, your life would have changed. If your life has not changed after my retreat, then I failed somewhere. But till today, it's not happened. We've done about 25 of them and it never happened.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast and giving your time and sharing your knowledge and, making others feel that it's possible to heal and, pick a right path into healing. So thank you so much.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me here. Satnam. Satnam.